Hello and welcome to the Watch Kaki channel, where we bring you all the good and honest watch reviews. In today's video review, we are going to talk about this watch from Seiko. In fact, this model from Seiko, the SARB033 and 35. I have both the 33 and 35 with me here in the studio today. They are recognized as the classic Seiko, classic models. People who know Seiko, or even people who are not into Seiko watches, they will know that these watches, these two watches, they are considered the best entry-level mechanical watches. That is, the best mechanical watches with a decent movement, with a decent build and decent quality to it. So a bit of background information on the SARB series. They were previously under the Spirit series, and I think the previous models, they were known as SCVS003 or something like that. So these days they are called SARB033 and 35. These watches are JDM watches, meaning they are Japan domestic models. They are made in Japan. These watches are made in Japan, and they were previously sold exclusively to the Japan domestic market, but these days, thanks to the internet and e-commerce and retailers like Seiya and Higuchi, we could readily buy these watches from Japan. And these days, even local retailers, online retailers, they are bringing in these watches, so we can buy these watches very easily with a few clicks on the internet. So the SARB obviously sits higher than the very basic Seiko 5 series. Now these watches, remember, they are made in Japan, they have higher quality, they usually have sapphire crystal in front, and their movements, they are hand winding and offers hacking, unlike the Seiko 5s, which offered only automatic but without hand wind and hacking functions. And both watches actually come shipped with the stock bracelet I have mounted on the SARB033, the black one here. Really nice solid link bracelet. It's even got a nice chamfer to the side of the bracelet here. We'll get more into details later in the video review. Let's take a look at the specs of the watch. The watch has a case diameter of 38mm. It's got a case thickness of 11.7mm. It's got a flat sapphire crystal on top. Dial opening is about 31.4mm. And finally, the lug length, lug to lug, is about 44.7mm. The watch weighs about 126.5 grams when mounted on its stock bracelet. If I were to change out the metal bracelet for a leather strap, a standard type of leather strap, the watch will become 67.4 grams. The SARB has a lug width of 20mm, thereby making it somewhat a strap monster. With such a lug width and such a look to it, the watch is going to be very versatile. It looks great on its stock bracelet. It looks equally good on a leather strap. We'll do a strap show later in this video to show you how the watch looks on different straps. The SARB has a case made entirely out of stainless steel. It's got a mixture of brush and polished surfaces. The sides of the case, along with the bezel, they are polished, and the top of the lugs are brushed. As you can see from the minor scratches on the bezel and the sides of the case, these two watches I have with me in the video review, they are loan sets from my buddy. Thank you very much, buddy. So the top of the lugs has got vertically brushed finish to it, and the sides and the bezel, they have a polished surface to it. And over here there's a bit of a step or chamfer design, whatever you call this. It is not as straightforward as it seems. It's got an extra bit of a step coming up from the usual lugs. The SARB also has a flat sapphire crystal. Dial opening size is about 31.4mm, and it's got a display back, although I'm not too sure if the display back is made of sapphire crystal. And here you can see the movement. It is the workhorse movement, Seiko 6R15. This movement is found in many Seiko watches, from the SARB series to Seiko Sumo and a couple of higher end presage automatic watches. The 6R15 is by no means a high-end movement, but it is very reliable, and I would say this is a workhorse movement. You can't go wrong with it. The movement does look quite plain. Apart from the sign and decorated rotor, I don't see much decorations or engraving at other parts of the movement. It's interesting that nobody really knows the retail price of this model, the SARB. Usually we talk about the street price, and it's about 600 Singapore dollars. Sometimes you can get it slightly lower from online retailers, but typically I would say this model goes new for about 600 Singapore dollars from online retailers. So let's go on and talk about the design of the SARB model and why it is so popular among watch collectors. So the SARB has A very simple case design. It's a round case, 38mm. You won't go wrong with such a design. Very easy to appreciate. Probably won't go wrong with it. It's got date function, and the case has got a mix of brush and shiny polished surfaces. The overall build quality of the SARB, I would say it's very good. You don't get rough edges or unpolished or rough polishing, even if I were to look close up or on the inside of the lugs. The machining is of decent quality and the fit and finish is pretty good, and I would say there's very little to fault. The overall build is really good for the money. You are getting a good solid link bracelet with a chamfer on the edge of the bracelet. I'm not sure if you can see it here. Try to do a close-up for you to see the chamfering. It's polished, whereas the rest of the bracelet is vertically brushed along with the top of the lugs. Looking at the clasp of the bracelet, you know that this is definitely an upgrade from the Seiko 5 series. You've got a proper milled metal clasp, and it's got 2 push buttons here for quick release. Very well made for the money. So let's talk about the dial design again. You can never go wrong with such a dial. It's a classic looking Seiko type of dial with KitKat markers applied on all the hour markers. 12 o'clock is double KitKat, whereas from 1 o'clock to 11 o'clock you get just one single bar of KitKat. Really nice applied markers, and even the Seiko logo is applied. And then you get this type of hands that are very common with many Seiko watches. You've got the dolphin hands. Only this time the dolphin hands have got lume in the middle. Got a tiny strip of lume. We'll go on to a lume shot later on in this video review. And I especially like to mention the counterbalance on the second hand of the watch, the central second hands. Here you can see that there's a diamond shaped counterbalance going around the dial, and I really find it pleasing to look at. The date window on the SARB models are nicely bordered, and I think the border is applied. It does look a little bit out of place on the off-white or SARB035 model, because there is a difference, there's a contrast between the colors. The dial is really off-white or slight beige tint to it, whereas the date wheel is pure white. On the black one though, there is no contrast. It looks really uniform. It's all black, and over here I would say there is more bling, and the markers overall, the KitKat markers feel a bit shiny, a bit more shinier because of the black dial. I think the black dial sort of has a bit of reflective properties to it. And if you take a look at the minute track here at the edge of the dial, you will see that the minute track is really very precise in the sense that it offers really small graduations, even smaller than the 1 minute markers. I'm not too sure who can look at these small graduations. I know for sure I can't. The SARB also has a sign crown, signed with the S Seiko logo. Although it's not a screw down crown, it does offer 100 meters water resistance, and the winding is pretty smooth. Alright, it's nothing premium about it. It is a workhorse movement, but I would say the winding and the handset function, they're all pretty decent. Personally, I do find that the case back protrudes a little bit too far off my preference. I would actually prefer a thinner case back. This will make the watch more wearable, but I guess at this price point, and if you want a water resistance of 100 meters perhaps, these are the things that you need to accept. So it is very easy to understand why the SARB models are so popular. The main reason is you can never ever go wrong with a model like this. With a watch like this kind of design, this kind of looks, you cannot go wrong with it. And it's got pretty good functions as well. It's got a date function, it's got good lume, it's got 100 meters water resistance. You can wear this watch every day without fear of being caught in the rain. You're not afraid of knocking it against the doorway because the price point is very affordable, and you're simply going to wear this watch every day without fear of ruining it. And it definitely helps that the SARB is such a versatile watch. You can dress it up when you put it on a leather strap, you wear it with a suit out in the evening for dinner, no problem with it. And if you need to wear it on a bracelet, it looks just as good. Really versatile watch. You can wear it every day to any occasion, dress up, dress down, whatever, it just works. So let us now take a quick look at how versatile the SARB can be when it comes to strap changes. So you can never go wrong with the good old black leather strap. It instantly makes the watch look dressier, probably good for a night out or a night to the dinner. And if you were to mount it on a NATO strap, the watch immediately looks a bit more toolish. It's like one of those field watches you would see, not too big, 38 millimeters. Looks just the right size for a field watch, and it's got the vibes too. So for special occasions where it might be a bit rainy, or if you're going to sweat quite a bit, a black rubber strap will work just as well on the black SARB. So we got the white dial variant mounted on a Bond NATO strap. And if you're up for it, if you're feeling funky, you can always opt for a fabric strap, a Batik strap, just to spice things up a bit. And I know many of you SARB owners out there always prefer your watch to be mounted on the stock bracelet, which is actually pretty good quality bracelet. I really like this one. So here's a look at the lume shot of the SARB watch model. Let's switch off the lights. Alright, here you can see that the lume is very bright, as with most Seiko watches. In fact, all Seiko watches I've come across, they have really bright looms. Both the hour and minute hands are lume, as well as the ends of the KitKat markers here. Very legible, very bright lume. So in terms of lume, I would say this watch is really great. So here's a wrist shot of the watch on my 6.8 inch wrist. That's 17 centimeters for you. Bracelet is very comfortable and sized perfectly for me. The clasp is right in the middle of my wrist. And given the short lug length, there is practically no lug gap. The watch wears very comfortable for its size, 38 millimeters. You can never go wrong. And for people who prefer to wear straps on their watches, the SARB takes in any straps without a problem. On show here is a Vario espresso brown vintage Italian strap, and I would say it goes really well with the off-white dial of the SARB035. And for today's size comparison, we have with us the SIN 556, which is a very similar size watch to the SARB series. Both watches have about 38 or 38.5 millimeters case size. But as you can see here, the ZIN has a slightly longer lug-to-lug length, but the ZIN actually has a slightly thinner case than our Seiko in question today. The difference between the thickness of these two watches is probably due to the thicker case back we have on the Seiko SARB. It's got a more protruding case back, thereby giving it a slightly thicker profile than the ZIN. So there you have it, the SARB33 and 35. Good watches for the money, about 600 Singapore dollars. You're getting a good quality watch, good build, a good level of water resistance, so you can wear this watch every day. It can be a rough daily wearer, goes well with anything, any strap, any type of bracelet you put it on. Extremely versatile no matter which dial variant you go for. You can go for the off-white one or the black one. They do well in all occasions. You can wear it as a dress watch, you can use it as a day-to-day wearer, no problems at all. But then again, these watches, they are no heirloom material. You're not going to pass down these watches to future generations. But then the SARB models, they are such good value for the money, good for everyday wear. I think these watches, they are right up there with many entry-level Swiss-made watches. And I dare say that this watch makes a very good entry to the world of mechanical watches. If you're looking for your first mechanical watch that is reliable, something that you can wear every day to work or on the weekends, look no further than the SARB models from Seiko. So I hope you like this video. Please come back next week. I've got more videos uploaded just for you. It's time to say goodbye. I'm the Watch Kaki. Bye bye. So it is very easy to understand why the and if you were to mount it on a NATO strap, the watch immediately looks and then you got this kind of hands. It's called the dolphin or the dolphin. Okay, dolphin.